Patrick, an unprecedented move from the president today. What is the president expecting this to do? And secondly, what are you expecting to see from this move?
Well, Emily, I think this solidifies the case that the president continues to try to bring down the price of oil and thus reduce the price of gasoline. In fact, he said it himself. Now, this is a fairly substantial release of 180 million barrels. Keep in mind, this is now the third release from the SPR that the Biden administration has initiated. Gas prices in Grand Rapids have been declining. In fact, many stations back under that $4 a gallon mark. This will provide more momentum for the downward move to continue. Most stations should eventually fall back under that $3 a gallon mark, but still prices are going to be much higher than I think most Michiganders would like to see.
So I saw you tweeted national average $3.99 a gallon in the next 3 weeks with a question mark. So the only certain thing is uncertainty, you tweeted, may push this back. It's all about that uncertainty. And how does that play into it?
Yeah, Emily, it certainly is. I mean, the announcement today was anticipated as early as last night. But what we can anticipate is what could happen between Russia and Ukraine that could change the calculus, whether or not there are escalations, if there are talks. Keep in mind, part of the reason why oil prices have plummeted this week is because of a rise in COVID cases in China. There's just a lot of different headlines out there that could influence prices one way or another. And that's that uncertainty.
Yeah. So with today's announcement, I was learning some new terms, sweet and sour crude. What is the difference and what does this mean for prices?
Yeah, Emily, we're not talking about takeout here. There are different varieties in crude oil, and sweet crude oil is generally lighter. It produces more light products like gasoline and kerosene, whereas that sour crude oil tends to be heavier. It produces more things like diesel, heating oil, bunker fuel. So there's definitely a difference. In fact, many of the refineries here in the Great Lakes are set up to process more of that heavy sour crude oil, and most of that comes from Canada.
So we're approaching spring break here. A lot of people are just coming out of it. A lot of people are going into it. What's that meant for the demand on gas prices?
Well, Emily, as we approach the spring break time, it's going to be an increase in demand. In fact, we've already seen demand go up here in the last few weeks. That's par for the course. Now, the whole program here with the SPR release is designed to add more supply because demand has already really rebounded to where we were pre-COVID. And the question is, will spring break and will the fact that the president is trying to reduce price, will that incentivize Americans to hit the road even more this summer? That could eventually have a long-term net negative impact on gas prices moving forward.
All right, Patrick De Haan, always keeping an eye on it for us from GasBuddy. Thank you.
Thanks, Emily.